Welcome to this week's episode. Today we are talking about the prospecting life cycle. Not necessarily the customer life cycle, which I'm sure you've heard of before, but
of course,
the prospecting life cycle. So most of you have heard of the customer life cycle, right?
I certainly hope.
Exactly. But first of all, I'm Paula Williams.
And I'm John Williams.
And we are ABCI, and ABCI's mission is
to help all you ladies and gentlemen out there sell more products and services in the aviation world.
Absolutely.
At large.
At large. Or at small.
Small.
I got so excited we jumped into the topic before telling people who we are.
There you are.
The nerve. Right. Okay, so customer life cycle, I'm sure you've seen this in any marketing textbook you pick up. There's some version of this. People become aware of your product, they evaluate it against its competitors, they make a purchase, they have an experience with you, they bond with you, they tell their friends and neighbors, and so on. They purchase from you again if they had a good experience. They tell their friends and neighbors not to purchase from you if they had a bad experience, and so on. So it goes around that cycle for as long as it goes, right?
Evidently.
Right, so if you have a subscription product or something like that, then you're reselling once a month. If you sell airplanes, if you're a broker or whatever, then it might be 3 to 5 years as people go around that cycle. They don't buy airplanes every month unless
they're really well off.
Right, unless you're NetJets.
The ashtrays get filled up.
Right. Oh, they don't do ashtrays anymore, do they?
Okay.
Anyway.
The bar needs to be refilled.
The bar needs to be refilled. It's dirty. You need a new airplane. But for the most part, people go through that cycle on a 1-month basis, on a 5-year basis, somewhere between the two, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. So let's go back before that. Before they even are aware of your product, while they're going through that very first part of that cycle, where do they come from?
Wherever they are.
Wherever they are. Well, there's a story about the stork. There's this, all kinds of things, but we won't get into that today. So anyway, this is a chart from our software from SharpSpring. And it talks about where our customers came from this month. And, the biggest green section happened because of a postcard we sent out to MROs, right?
Ah, good point.
Exactly. And then the next section...
Well, that's instructive.
Exactly. No, that's really cool. The next section came from Google Search, which is usually our biggest section, right? But this month is a little bit of an anomaly, but we throw the anomaly in because it's instructive, right?
That's right.
Okay. And we want to be real. So the next section, which is kind of turquoise, is from Google Search. Now, what that is somebody typed in aviation marketing or digital marketing or aviation digital marketing or search engine optimization or something, right, into Google or, aviation postcards, aviation brochures.
They happen to have a couple of keywords of ours in it.
Exactly. And came to our website from Google. So that generally is the largest section of this pie. The next smallest is from Facebook.
You missed direct traffic.
Oh, yes, I missed direct traffic. I'm sorry.
See how you are?
Exactly.
Somebody's got to keep you straight.
Okay. Direct traffic, that is people who knew about us some other way, and we don't necessarily know how. They may have a business card, or we may have talked to them 6 months ago, or they came to one of our events and have our URL for some reason.
Right, and they typed it in.
Mm-hmm. Right. And then the next section is Facebook. So, for those of you who think that Facebook doesn't amount to a hill of beans, it certainly does.
Small hill, but there it is.
Small hill of beans, but we don't spend much money or time.
But that's on this chart because of the MRO postcards we sent out.
Exactly.
On a typical chart, it would be larger.
Exactly. Next section is word of mouth. And then the gray section is other. Now, we try to keep that gray section as small as we possibly can, but there are always people that find us and we have no idea how, right?
Either they don't recall when they talk to us or they don't want to say or
right,
whatever.
Exactly. I don't remember how I heard of you the first time. And that's fine. We certainly don't want to exclude those people, but we want to make that section as small as we possibly can because it's best if we know how people found us the first time, right?
The more we know, the better we can be.
Exactly. So that pie chart is really helpful to figure out how did people find you the first time. And if your software captures that, That's great. But you have to help your software. So when someone calls you on the phone for the first time, one of the questions you ask them during that first conversation is,
how did you find us?
Exactly. How did you find us? And you want to make sure that you get that information into your CRM, because it might be 6 months or a year or 5 years before they make a purchase from you. You want to have good records about how these people found you the first time, and you're not going to remember, right?
Which is why you make notes.
And they're not going to remember either.
No, they're not.
Exactly. Okay. So now let's talk about, even if somebody found us on Google search, so that's that turquoise section we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we're going to talk about a specific person who found us in that turquoise section. He found us on a Google search.
No, wait a minute.
Okay.
There are women that find us.
There are women that find us.
You said him.
I said him because I'm talking about a specific person, and I happen to know he's a him.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So you are talking about it.
I am.
I see.
Okay, so this is a specific guy. I'm pretty sure he's a guy. I've talked to him on the phone. He's got kind of a guy name, and he's got a guy voice. So I'm making assumptions that he's a guy.
Okay.
So I'm going to use those
But
pronouns.
you didn't say that up front. So,
Okay.
I mean, you know.
All right. So anyway, this person, who happens to be a guy, found us on Google search.
Okay.
Okay. Then what he did is he used the little chat function on our website,
Mm-hmm.
and he chatted with Jordan, asked some basic questions and things like that, and made an appointment, right?
True.
Okay. During the time between that chat and an appointment, he listened to several of our podcasts.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. And then we had an appointment, and we had a really good conversation. And with this particular person, he purchased a service that we offer.
Wow.
Okay. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps, right?
Yes.
So Google search, chat, podcasts, appointment, and sale. Which of those, actually we take out the sale, so there's 4 steps other than the sale. Which of those 4 steps was the step that convinced him to purchase?
Who the hell knows?
Exactly. I mean, I don't know. If I asked
He may not
him, he may not know. You know, what was the one thing that put you over the edge to dig out your checkbook?
But I'd be willing to bet that if you took any one of those things out of there, the sale wouldn't have been made.
That is very likely. He may have gone to a competitor, or he may not have recognized the need for a service or whatever.
And as an aside, we the chat function has only been on there, 2 months?
2 months, yeah.
And the first month, nothing happened, and we started to take it off, and
Yeah.
we're convinced to leave it on for a while longer, and then this came along, so it's paid for itself.
Exactly. So, all of those things, you know, I don't know, and he may not know which of those things actually caused him to dig out in this case, his credit card, and, put the numbers into his computer.
But he did.
But he did, right. So how do I work with this information, not knowing which of those things was the thing that caused the sale? How do I know what to put more time and money into in our marketing portfolio?
Well, I would say that SharpString helps you do that.
Okay. Thank you. So we're going to go deeper into
That was
SharpString.
right.
Exactly. Deeper into the software. And this shows me a thing called the life of the lead, right? So this tab says that we have had 40 interactions with this person, which started, and it is only August, right?
Really? 40?
Mm-hmm. It's only August, and we started talking to this person in May, okay? So he came to our website on May 18th, and he visited these pages, and
So he found us on Google in May.
He found us on Google by typing in...
No, I don't care
something.
right now, but...
Exactly.
So he found us in May.
Exactly.
On Google.
Right. So May 18th, he went to our website, and that's what that little globe means. That little symbol in our software. And then the information that our software captured were that he spent 9 minutes on our site on that day, and he spent 6 of those minutes on this particular article. Many aviation companies get 50% of their business by referral.
Do you?
Do you? Right? So I suspect he was looking for referral marketing when he came to our site. What I can do from this information is find out how many of our buyers, so at the end of 2019, I can look back and see how many of the people that bought from us visited this particular webpage.
Wow, cool.
Yeah. And, if that is the case, then we need to write more like that.
Or keep that one out there.
Well, yeah, obviously keep that one out there, or maybe even improve it, or spend some time spiffing up the search engine optimization of it so that more people find it.
Right.
Maybe add an infographic or a video or something to that page to do more of what's working.
Yes.
So this really helps us kind of target our investments into things that we know work. And this is a hypothetical because I'm not looking back at the end of 2019. It's only August. So, but that is a way that I could ask that question. So in that life of that lead, once again, there are 40 interactions. And that often happens between the different pages that they visit, the different emails that they open, the different media that we send them that they participate in. They watch a video. All of that stuff you can see along this timeline. And then, of course, we've got that data at the end of the year to look back and say which were our most valuable and most convincing assets.
Well, the end of the year for us will only be 9 months, right? Because we didn't install SharpSpring until
April. The longer we use it,
right,
the better it gets.
Of
right?
course. Next year, the end of the year, we'll have a year's worth of data.
Exactly.
Well, more than that because it keeps going.
Right, exactly. But keeping this level of data is really going to help us spend the time and money on what works.
The things that work and eliminate the things that don't.
Exactly. Right. So how can you make this work for you? We use a product called SharpSpring. That's what we've been showing you during this episode.
Right.
And any CRM is only as good as the data that it captures. So you need to configure it right. You need to get it connected to your website. You need to get it connected to your email. You need to, when you send out a postcard, you need to get those tagged so that those show up with the right tags on them, saying this is how they found you. If they get a postcard and then they come to your website, you want to keep all that information. So
it will do that for you as long as you've got it configured correctly.
Right, and every sales or marketing interaction is captured in this, whether it's a phone call or whatever. So there is some entering of data, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, most of those 40 interactions, I would say probably 35 of them at least were automatically captured. So I'm not spending any time saying which pages is this guy going to and what is he doing on our website.
And in fact, I think it has an interface into several types of telephone systems if you're large enough to have such.
Exactly. And if you're not, then you're just going to have to log your phone calls.
Exactly.
Which still is a lot less work than otherwise, and hopefully you're logging your phone calls anyway. But so SharpSpring includes the CRM, the configuration, the setup. We set up your emails so that when people fill out a form on your website, they get an automatic email. All of that we set up custom for you the way you want it. And we do some digital marketing and other things so that you are getting those leads so that you have something to keep track of, right? Mm-hmm. So the lead generator is really the best way that we found for people who don't really want to get into all the nuts and bolts of the technology to be able to take advantage of
the
technology and all of that information that you can use to make good decisions.
Exactly.
So it's the software plus the service. So you get ABCI's famous service and SharpSpring's fabulous software in one package.
Right.
Okay. Great.
Not to be confused with software as a service.
Yeah, exactly. SaaS. This is actually service, real service plus software, right?
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
So thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Have a great day.